Everybody, it is Megan from Sidekick Accounting and your accounting sidekick. And today we are continuing our series of videos about out of the box accounting. And so, as I iterated yesterday, a lot of times accounting can be hard to digest and understand and make relevant to you because it seems like it's something that's outside of your reach, right? Especially if you don't come from a business background, you've never taken accounting classes or anything like that. So we are going through a couple of different video series or a series of videos that hopefully helps you to kind of understand accounting from a relatable perspective. So today we are going to talk about maximizing what you already know. And the way that this is relevant to accounting is because pretty much everything in business comes back to your money in some kind of way. It's just sometimes it's hard to quantify and it's hard to see how those choices relate back to your numbers in a really tangible way. So when I talk about maximizing what you already know, chances are that when you started your business, you started it because there was something that you understood how to do. There was something, that related to the business that you were really good at. It could be marketing or sales or the service you provide. You might love makeup or, working out or helping people, whatever it is, you had a leg up because of this expertise that you brought to the table or this passion or this know-how of whatever it was that you created your business for. And so when I talk about maximizing it, that's what I'm talking about. That piece of it is what I'm talking about. You need to maximize why you originally started your business. Whatever it was that you're really, really good at is what you should probably continue to do. The part that you love, the part that you know how to figure out, and provide that piece of it. That's what you should be maximizing on, whether it's the actual doing of the thing or if it's teaching others how to do that thing or if it's making telling the story of it or selling it. Whatever it is, those are the things that you should be doing, and pretty much everything else you should be delegating. So basically what my coach says is that um, you should only be doing what you can do, and everything else should be delegated. And the reason why this maximizes your accounting is because it maximizes your profit. What it does when you do that is that it allows for you to do the thing that you enjoy doing, which means that you're going to work better. And when you delegate, that means you expand your reach so that ultimately, if your numbers are together and you're profitable, kind of going back to what we talked about yesterday, about knowing your value, or on our last video, knowing your value is pricing things right so that you're making that profit. But once you get that part, then you want to start figuring out, okay, what should you be doing? Maximizing what you already know how to do, the thing you already know how to do, and basically delegating all the other pieces. So if you are really, really good at making the product or developing it or marketing it or providing whatever it might be, there's tons and tons of things that you could be doing as a business owner, right? That you probably are. If you started a business, there's probably something that you do that's very different from maybe another business. But whatever that thing is that you're really, really good at and that you enjoy doing is the thing that you should be maximizing. That's where you should be focusing on wherever you are at. So if you are really good at making and developing your service or product, but you're really not very good at sales, or you're not very good at marketing, or you're really not good at the paperwork in the background, or you're not good at the numbers, right? Shameless plug. If you're not good at that, then you should be delegating those things. You should hire a salesperson, an accountant, a marketing, social media manager, a developer, a copywriter, whatever it might be, because then what it does is it helps to expand that piece of it. Even the operations. When I first started, the first thing I did as I started growing, was hiring a contractor to help with my data entry. And then from there, she turned into an employee. But several years later, I hired another contractor. She turned into an employee. So like there are a bunch of different options that you can do when it comes to growing your business and growing your reach. And sometimes it's only ever going to be contractors that you work with. But even if that's the case, you still want to make sure that you're maximizing whatever it is that you love to do and whatever you're really good at. Because those are the things that are going to generate the revenue for your business to continue to grow or to continue to be profitable. And so then the next question is, well, how do I figure that out, right? How do I figure out, one, what to delegate? And two, how do I even, start thinking about how to delegate? Because you might just be starting out, or you might have, enough money where you're able to cover your personal expenses or pay yourself, but you're like trying to figure out like how in the world could you possibly bring on another person to your team to be able to start doing those things. So I have 4 steps that you need to walk through. And I'm actually thinking about making this into a mini course. So if you want to really dig in deep to these 4 different items and you would like, more hands-on information on exactly how to do this, drop a comment below so that I can know if there's even an interest before I do this mini course, because that was kind of what my thought was behind this. So first of all, number 1, find out what your time is worth. So the way that you figure out what your time is worth is by first starting to figure out what your margins are. The amount left over is a good benchmark. So if you're, making money and you're not really paying yourself, but you got money left over, that's the benchmark that you want to kind of go off of to figure out from there what your time is worth. If there's not anything left over, then you need to look at your prices again. So revert back to our video yesterday to kind of start as a launching pad to figuring out what you should be charging for your products and services, because if you're not charging the right amounts, then you're not going to ever be profitable, and it's going to be pretty much impossible to grow your team without going into debt. And now you have certain times in business where it makes sense to get some loans to be able to help your business grow, because there's always transition periods. Like we're hiring right now at Sidekick Accounting, and I don't quite have the maximum capacity to be able to fill all those positions, but we're anticipating a lot of growth this year. And I want to make sure our team is staffed and ready and trained before we get super crazy busy again. And as a result of that, though, there's going to be some transition period where, our profit margin is going to go down a little bit because our expenses are going to go up before our revenue goes up. But I know that we're already profitable based off of where we are, and I know what it takes to get more sales and more leads and more people onto our roster of clients, onto our team. And family, I like to call it our family. We say, welcome to the Sidekick family, right? Because we're really there to help our business owners grow. And that takes a lot of, relationship building as well. So anyways, that's enough about it, but I know what it takes. So anyways, in that transition period, there's going to be more expenses than normal because we're going to be transitioning people before we get that revenue. So anyways, that's a good example of when it's a really good time to get some of that business lended money, so that or use your savings that you may have piled up. It's operating capital. It's working capital is what they generally call it. It's working capital because we need the money in order to grow. But if you don't have the money to grow, then you're kind of stuck from growing. So that's where figuring out where your profit margins are. You got to be profitable. And then figuring out what your time is worth from that is where you're able to do that. And so that's the first thing, figuring out what your time is worth. We would dig more into that piece of it if we were to do a course. So let me know if you'd be interested. You want to make a list of all the things you do and mark the things that directly give you money and that you enjoy doing. So both things, because sometimes the direct things that we do to make money isn't necessarily something we enjoy doing, but it's something that directly makes money. So let's see if I can give you an example. I really love doing all the things that make money, right? Like talking to people and consulting and teaching, but maybe some of those things aren't things you necessarily like doing, but it's definitely like revenue generating. So make that list. Make the list of all the things that you do, and then highlight or mark or whatever the things that directly give you money or make you money, and the things that you enjoy doing. And then write all the items that are not marked on a separate piece of paper. So go through, brain dump, mark off what you like, and then put everything you generating money or that you really like doing and put it on another piece of paper. And then, oh no, sorry, I had that backwards. So put all the items that are not marked on the piece of paper. So all the things you don't like doing that are not money generating, put that on a piece of paper, and then figure out what kind of contractor or position you would need to be able to fill those tasks. So let me start over. Number one, find out what your time is worth, right? Because you got to know how much your time is worth when you're thinking about expanding your team. So figure out how much your time is worth, make a list of all the things that you do, and then mark the things that directly make you money or that you enjoy doing. On a separate piece of paper, put all the other items, so all the items that you didn't mark, on that other piece of paper, and then figure out what kind of contractor or position you would need to be able to check those tasks off. So if it's a lot of paperwork and admin kind of things, maybe hiring a VA would be a really great idea for your business. And for a lot of people, it is. Like, that's the first contractor they hire because, especially like solopreneurs or smaller businesses, because having a VA checks a lot of the admin boxes that need to happen, but are usually tedious to do. So VA might be the first thing that you have to think about hiring. And then what you want to do is start job searching. Look for jobs that fill that position or get quotes from contractors for those types of jobs so that you can start planning and budgeting what the next phase of your business looks like. So this is really pivotal to working on your business and not just in it, to follow these steps, because this is going to give you the foundation you need to be able to figure out, okay, if my time is worth $100 an hour, then if I hire somebody for $25 an hour to do these tasks that are taking me 5 hours a week, that means that's 5 additional hours that I have to start working on these higher generating tasks, these things that are going to bring me money, and not just the admin tasks in the back that have to happen, but don't bring you any money. And so that's where breaking these pieces down about your business and what you're doing and what you like to do and what you don't like to do and what's revenue generating and what's not, those kind of things, it helps you to figure out who you need to hire so that you can expand your capacity and maximize what you know how to do right now. And so hopefully you're seeing how this concept is first outside of the box, but how it also affects your accounting, because breaking down those pieces into the numbers gives you the value that you need to see so that you can understand first the investment that you're going to be making, right? Because sometimes it's an investment to hire somebody else to do something. However, usually there's a return on that investment that's far greater. So just one last quick story. When I was in my second year of owning my business, I had a part-time job, right? Because I started when I got laid off of the jobs that I was worked for, about a year, but it still wasn't quite enough to help, our family. So I got a part-time job, and I worked this part-time job for about a year. And, towards the end of that year, it was getting to a point where it was like, I understood what it took to get new clients. I understood what my time value was. And I understood that if I used that time, that 20 hours I was working for somebody else, and instead turned it into revenue generating activities for my business, I would pretty quickly be able to make up for the income that I was losing by quitting my part-time job. It was getting to a place where I really had to choose one or the other. And, so quitting that job was a strategic risk, or what do I always like to say? Calculated risk. It was a calculated risk because I knew that my income would be going down per se, kind of like what we're at right now with this transition of new employees, where my income would go down because I was quitting that job. However, I knew that I could use that time that I was working for somebody else to really put in growing my business. And it did. Like we've grown very substantially in the last 7 years. There was a couple of years where I had to kind of slow down on growing because of family stuff that was happening. That was when I had my two boys back to back. So I have two young boys, 2 and 3. They're 13 months apart. So that year, that my 3-year-old was born, and then the following year when my 2-year-old was born was also the year that I separated from my ex. And so there was like a lot of stuff that happened, and we didn't really grow very much at all during those 2 years. We maintained, which was amazing, but my expenses went up because I had to hire more people to help because I had to work less. Anyways, I will tell you one day about my story, but in completion. However, like that is what you have to do. So like as you grow, you got to take these calculated risks. But the only way you can take calculated risk is by breaking down the numbers in your business. And so take the time to figure these numbers out. Make time this weekend or make time next week or in the next month to make it a goal to really sit down and walk through these 4 steps. And if you are interested in figuring out how to work through these steps in more detail, like I said, drop them in a comment or emoji so that I know you might be interested in this mini course and we can put it together, because there is nothing or there's other things that but I really enjoy breaking down numbers. For people to understand. And I love when people have light bulb moments where they can really see how tangible their numbers are, and be able to start utilizing them to help them grow. So yeah, that is what I wanted to talk to you about today. So hopefully this was a good video for you to listen to. Remember, you want to work on your business, not just in it. And we want you to be able to conquer your books and be successful companies, because successful companies provide for families, futures, and communities. And that is ultimately what we here at Sidekick Accounting and Your Accounting Sidekick want. So drop an emoji for that or a comment if this was helpful. Make sure you share and tag people and all that good fun stuff, because like I said, we are going through this series of thinking outside of the box when it comes to our accounting, because it's a lot more tangible than you think it is. So hopefully this is helpful. Thanks for joining me and watching, and I will talk to you again very soon. Thanks. Bye.